One of my kids wrote me a letter. It was so adorable. It was like, Mom, thank you so much for doing school, planning so much for it. And I was like, I got them fooled. I think I'm up all night planning. I'm not up all night planning. I sit on the couch and I watch TV with my husband. I eat a lot of ice cream, take a bubble bath, and I read a book that I want to read. Listen to a podcast. Okay, I'm not up all night planning. It may look like I am. Forevermore, my kids will be like, I swear my mom was up till midnight planning. Those lessons were so good. I know, it's a shocker. I bet you did not even expect for me to have a video out this soon. But when the Lord calls, the Lord calls. And I felt super impressed to make this video as soon as possible. I know, and I've gotten messages from many mothers that are feeling the strong impression to bring their kids home, to homeschool them, and are asking me how to plan out the year. I am a mom of 4 kids, ranging in ages from kindergarten all the way to middle school. And I am able to simply and quickly and easily plan out my homeschool year. And I want to show you guys how, because it's really not as hard as it looks. It's not as hard as it seems. And it's easy. So let's just get started. Those of you who've been following my channel, you know that we switched to the Good and the Beautiful curriculum last year. It has been the most amazing switch. And it has just lifted a weight off of my shoulders. So I am going to show you how I plan my year out with the Good and the Beautiful curriculum. If you are using a different curriculum, I'm sure you can use these same tips and tricks on the curriculum that you are using, but I'm just telling you guys, with this curriculum, it is like open and go. You don't have to do too much to plan out a year. I enter in the Good and the Beautiful curriculum into Homeschool Planet, and yes, I'm still using Homeschool Planet. It's an online planner, and I actually did a YouTube video, which I will link below, but I still use it. We do language arts Monday through Thursday, and I do it 1 lesson per day. Now, if a lesson is really quick, then, sometimes they will do 2 lessons, but honestly, mainly we do 1 lesson a day, 4 days a week. So that's just language arts. That's pretty straightforward. And literally to put the language arts into Homeschool Planet, it might take me maybe 30 minutes for the whole year. It's awesome. The Good and the Beautiful language arts is just open and go. There is nothing that you need to plan day to day. Today we're supposed to be doing lesson 83, and literally at that moment, I just follow through with them what they're supposed to do. You have nothing further to do. During the lesson, I am naturally inspired and naturally guided by the Spirit to say certain things to my kids, or maybe to add something, or share an experience or whatever, but that's just natural learning and natural teaching, and I'm sure that happens to all of you guys. So that is just Spirit-led teaching, but I don't plan. It's done for me. For my kindergartner, it's a little bit different. I don't plug his language arts into Homeschool Planet, partly because he is moving at a pace that he needs to master a concept before we move on. For instance, right now we are learning silent E, or the bossy E. We have been on that lesson for maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And if I would have plugged it into Homeschool Planet, it would have made me feel like I was behind. I go at a pace that he is learning at. And you guys, this is a huge milestone for me. Hit 2 full years homeschooling, and I feel like at this point I have finally shed the public school mindset. It's finally off my shoulders, I feel, and I feel freer, and I'm really just letting my children guide their, we just kind of roll with them and roll with their current and go how fast they're going or how slow they're going. And I feel no mom guilt. So just keep that in mind that for my kindergartner, I don't actually plan. I literally take it at his speed and his rate. All right, so now we're going to move on to unit studies like history and science. And this is where I get a lot of questions. This is the key with planning your year. Like I said, the language arts is super easy, straightforward. But when it comes to history and science and all the extras, I tend to get a little excited about it at the beginning of the year. I lay out all my curriculum and I dream and I wish upon a star and I hope and I see all the amazing things we can do. We could hit like 5 history units and 6 science units. Oh, so amazing. Okay, that's the dream. But let me tell you the secret, you guys, that I've learned. Lay it out in the beginning of the year. Pray over the summer. Let the Spirit tell you what is right for your family, and get kind of that picture at the beginning of the year. So you kind of just have an idea of what you're going to do. I don't solidly put it in my online homeschool planner until we are like doing the unit. I do not put my entire year of unit studies into my homeschool planner. It's not, I feel like just avoid that altogether. Plan those like history and science units in like 6 to 8 week increments. I don't follow the suggested like laid out schedule that The Good and the Beautiful gives for history and science. We tried it, and I think that it's suggested that you do like 3 days of history with 1 day of science. We tried it, but we took a vote. It was unanimous in our house. We were like, we want to do one at a time and just do unit studies. Okay, so what we do is we flip-flop science and history. It works perfectly. You're really concentrating and diving into history, and by the time the 6 weeks comes to a close, it's almost perfect timing where we feel like we need to change it up a little bit and we might be getting a little bored. So that's when I do the flip-flop. Doing those units, we do them about 3 or 4 days a week. So we do like a history unit lesson Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I hope for 4 days a week, but I always kind of in my mind plan for 3 solid days. And if we end up hitting 4 lessons in the week, we're doing really good. Okay, so I don't use the Good and the Beautiful history as it is laid out. I bought 2 at once, you guys. I cannot wait till the 3rd comes out. I am dying for the 3rd one, and it's coming out this summer. So I bought 2 at once, and the Spirit really prompted me and led me to certain units within these books. So I did not start with year 1 because that is not what I felt my kids needed. I felt really strongly that they needed a strong foundation in our country's history. They had not received that in their former public school years. Not at all. So I felt that I needed to lay that foundation. I felt that really strongly. So what I did, this is just how I do it. You can certainly follow it, how it is laid out, and it's laid out super amazingly. I love how it's laid out, but I specifically was following what I was prompted to do. I started with history book number 2, and I started with Unit 2 because I felt that that's what I was supposed to teach my kids. I did this about 3 to 4 days a week, solely history, 6 to 8 weeks. After we finished the Unit 2 of history in the fall, it was like the first 6 to 8 weeks of school in September, we switched to the science unit, space science. We do all of these unit studies as a family. We do it family style. So we're going to be rotating them for several years, and we're going to touch on all of the science, which means I just kind of pick what we feel like doing, what our interest is, what would be fun for us, what we're in the mood for, what we want to learn, and that's how I pick my science units. Science units for us, because we're just doing it about 3 to 4 days a week, and honestly, sometimes we get so into it, we double up on the lessons. Like we'll do 2 lessons in a day. 3 weeks, they're done, 3 or 4 weeks. Like when you power through them, they go really fast. So it's just kind of like a quick power of cool science experience. It's like, yes. After the space science, we jumped back to history. Book 2, History Book 2, Unit 3, and it's the colonial America, which actually lined up with Thanksgiving really, really well. Like I didn't even plan that. See, it's just perfect. Took us into Christmas. I took a break with history, obviously, and science during Christmas. And come January, I jumped to history book number 1. So do you see how I'm not following the order? I had a comment, I don't know if it was on Instagram or it was on YouTube, but I did have a comment where someone didn't really necessarily like the order that the history curriculum was made in. And I suggest that you shouldn't throw out the entire curriculum because it's not in the order that you feel your family needs. I just pulled units that worked for us. I do love the order that she put. I love how she takes a world view, and every year you're diving into like the Constitution and American history. Every single year you're touching on that, and I love that. So I do love the order that it is made in. However, like I said, when you get a prompting and when the Spirit says, no, this is what your family needs to do, follow it, and it seamlessly works out. It really does. We dove into Unit 3. Unit 3 is the French and Indian War through the Revolutionary War. What?
Can I come through?
I have a child. Mackenzie? We totally loved the Revolutionary War, like I've said in my other video, and literally it went on for a long time. It was so fun. And that's another thing I suggest. If you are loving the unit you're doing, milk it for all it's worth. Like, take different, branch off and try to find different things you can do with it. Different crafts, projects, activities, movies you can watch, different assignments, books you can read. That's another thing that I love about this curriculum is it lists books that you can read as read-alouds, or I actually assign my kids their reading material from a lot of the recommendations. So while we're doing a unit study, like the Revolutionary War, my kids were reading a lot of books that were historical in nature and helped them become a part of that time period. So I timed that perfectly. Again, I didn't really have to plan. It sounds like, oh my gosh, I'm planning for hours and hours and hours. I'm not. I'm not, you guys. It's really not that hard. It is so beautifully laid out. It is so easy. It's just open and go. And I don't necessarily I'm not up at all hours of the night planning. Put your faith in God. Put your faith in Him, and He will do the work. He does. And you guys, Jenny's done the work already. You don't need to do any of the work. She's done it. What is here is enough. It's enough. This is enough with you, their mother, in the room. and the Spirit enveloping that room and teaching them, that is more than enough. That is more than any child gets at any, school institution. Their mother, they're teaching them the Spirit. That goes far beyond spending hours planning a lesson. So that is kind of how I plan my year out. I will link my Homeschool Planet planner video down below, and ask me questions below because I'm sure I missed a lot of questions. But my main piece of advice to you is don't fret. It's super easy. It's not as hard as it looks. And you will be taking more bubble baths and eating more chocolate and watching more movies with your husband than you would have ever thought. Your marriage will be so awesome. I'm telling you, when I switched to this curriculum, my marriage, seriously, it's rocking, you guys. It is